Oh, 4:01, nearly. Close. I nearly made it in time. I've literally I dived out the shower in a dramatic fashion, and then I was trying to dry my hair in time as well. And just hello everybody. Oh, bless you all for being here. Thank you very much. You guys are the best. So I got out the shower, and then it turns out, I don't know how many of you spend time on the road in hotel rooms, but there's a number of things, that can happen. One of them that I hadn't reckoned for, okay, the moisturiser is going on whilst we're together, because I never got to do it, and if I don't put moisturiser on, my whole body falls off. It's just the rule. Basically, the only two things I do when I'm on the road is moisturise and move and wash. But anyway, I just had to dry my hair, and guess what? The hairdryer handle was sticky as I was doing it. And so part of me was like, what the hell is on this hairdryer handle? Like, is it sperm? Is it sperm? And then I was like, don't be stupid. Why would it be that? Like, who does that? Who's like, and also men don't do that, right? So I've decided it wasn't sperm, but the hairdryer handle was sticky. And I'll say that there's something you don't want in a hotel. Number one is a sticky carpet. Number two is sheets and pillowcases that definitely don't look like they've been changed. And all of you know many of you will know my background in being a cleaner, and that I never ever used to change the bed sheets. I used to just get an iron and try and iron them, or just pull them really, really tight. And I certainly didn't ever change, like if there was, I'm just looking at my pillows here, I've got 4, so I would only ever change potentially 1, definitely not all of them. And where I just came out of, downtown Atlanta, 100% that bed was not changed. But I just had to get on with it. So, and I'm not fussy, but there is something weird about sleeping in a bed that you know hasn't been changed. And I suppose that really is just divine retribution for my terrible days as a cleaner. Anyway, how is everybody? Good. Fine. I'm glad. It's been a long time since I've been doing Katie's Arms when I'm supposed to have been doing Katie's Arms. So I'm so sorry for that. We've missed our regular Friday night, 8 o'clock Katie's Arms, and I don't even have a glass of wine. Look, I don't even like water, and I'm currently on water. It's all very depressing. I'm currently in Florida, and I only have, because the midterms now are only about 22 days away, and I said I would throw myself on the road before the midterms, and I would fight my way across America, particularly in swing states, which are the states that are up for grabs, and I would try and make a difference in my own little way to get Reds back in the House and the Senate. So that's what I've been up to, and I have been going through the swing states, places where it's really, really close. So places like Wisconsin, I just came out of there. Atlanta, that race is too close to call. I just came out of there. And in a couple days, I'll be up in Pennsylvania. So if any of you want midterms, in America we have midterms, and the midterms are about us getting back the House and the Senate so that we can go red again, we can crush Joe Biden's nonsense, and it means that we'll be better set up for 2024. And you could say, oh, in fact, I must go and show you my new hat. Wait one. Okay, I'm back in the room. You can say, well, it's none of our business, Katie, and you're not even, oh, that's not really helping the hair. You're not even American, which I totally understand. In fact, this camera might be back to front. But if you're in any way a believer in freedoms, the only way we're going to get any of those back is courtesy of the greatest civilian militia here in America. So that's part of my fight. And I've been having a lovely time on the road. So thank you to everybody who's been turning up. Can I just let you know where I'll be next, in case you're American and in case you're here? I will be in Pennsylvania on the 21st and the 22nd. So if you are in Pennsylvania and you can come along, I will be the official bad boy on the tour with Clay Clark and General Flynn. and the rest of the boys. But I'm not sure they're not quite used to having girls on the tour, I don't think, but I'm going to be on it. I'll be speaking just after my lovely friend Roger Stone. And if any of you are up to date on American politics, you'll know Roger. And I will get to speak on stage with Clay Clark in front of, I don't know how many people we're expecting, I think 3,000 people in Pennsylvania. So if you can come along, please do. And I've already been given a warning about my language and behaviour, which if any of you will know, wait a minute, people are drinking wine without me. Can you also tell it's quite humid here? Look, sweat's starting to fall off my face, which is partly my fault for powering out of the shower at such speed. So I will be in Pennsylvania. If you can come along, I will find you. I will be there, and I'll be hanging around after the event to see everybody. So let me know if you can come along. What about Alex Jones? I'll speak to that in a second. And then I will be in New York. If you are in New York City, and I fully expect many of you will be like, oh, dewy. Bless, someone saying I look dewy. No, I mean, that's so sweet, but this isn't dewy. This is full sweat. Remember, if I sweat off my nose, I'm going to get dehydrated, people. My nose is kind of sizable. So I'll be in New York City, and I'll be speaking at 3 West Club on the 24th. So if you're anywhere near New York and you can get to 3 West Club, I think it's 7 o'clock, 7:30, I'll be speaking there. And that will be my love note to New York from across the pond. I've purchased wine for this occasion. I love you. I need to be drinking. As soon as this is done and we're done here, please know that I will be going to a bar. I will be finding cheap Merlot. Last night at the bar, a guy went to me, I ordered Merlot, and the guy was like, it's just blah, 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 like as in excusing the fact that it was cheap. And I was like, that's perfect. I am cheap. This is a perfect situation. So Pennsylvania, New York, and then shortly thereafter, I will be coming back to the UK, and we can get back to Katie's Arms in the UK, and I can get back to seeing my dogs, who I haven't seen for 2 months and a bit. I mean, dogs, and then a husband and teenage children. I mean, probably, honestly, in that order, isn't it? If we're honest. So yeah, I threw myself to the road for 2. I wonder if I should show you I kind of want to show you my suitcase. 1 second. I'm going to get the suitcase to show you. Hold on. Okay. So, this is rather to prove the point about how I travel. But it's not actually, I mean, I'm making it look kind of big there. But in fact, it's not as big as, that's looking kind of big because it's near you. But if I can give some perspective to it, it's about the size of my little body. But anyway, this is the whole of my suitcasing for the whole of my time on the road, and it's actually kind of small. So I often think I should probably do a travel tips video for people, because people are terrible at traveling. But the basic advice is, don't take that shitting luggage, and don't have a big suitcase. And whatever you do, never, ever, ever take 2 suitcases. There is never, ever, not in the history of excuses, a reason to have more than 1 suitcase. All you are doing is making your life shit, because you have to put everything into that frickin' thing. When you get wherever you're going, you have to get that shit out of the frickin' thing, and don't say, I leave it packed and I just pull things out. That doesn't work. And then when you get home, I mean, you have to redo that. And when you get home, you have to, don't do it. You only need 1 thing of each thing, right? Unless you're me, in which case you need outfits because you have to turn up on stage. But even then, I've called it the red dress tour, and I'm sick of that red dress. And at this rate, it could probably walk to the dry cleaners on its own. But when you see people and they have these suitcases, literally they're rolling them like this because they're the size of themselves. And they have 2 of them. All they did was go to Disney. You don't need that shit unless you're a celebrity. I don't even know if you need that. Thank you to people that are buying a badge. I don't know what it means, but I know I should say thank you. I think I get like 10 cents or something, so thank you. You also may have been aware, or you may not, that for a while you haven't been able to do that. But that's because I once mentioned, we will call him, shall we, the gentleman from Luton. And so on here, I mentioned the gentleman from Luton. Actually, it was a screen grab of him trending because people can't stand the fact that he was the one that spoke truth initially and always has done about what's going on in our country that no one else speaks honestly about. No one else, because everyone else is tiptoeing a line. And because I put his name in a screenshot on my Insta feed, they banned me from being allowed to monetize. Not that I make money off of Instagram anyway, but that's, I think, well, that's it. The donation thing, I think, is the badge. $4.49 my badge cost. I'm not sure how much Instagram take. I don't know, my loves, but probably a horrible amount. So please don't feel like you have to do that. The way I guess people support now is to go on Katie's Arms, because lovely Mark runs that, and no one shut it down yet, which is weird. But if you go on lovely Katie's Arms, you can buy an actual badge. I'm looking for one to show you. An actual Offerty Piss. How many times shall I leave this screen? Wait, what? Right. I am coming back. This is turning into a bit of a... Katie shows you her stuff. So this is the crucial element of my travelling thing. The backpack of power that I speak about in Help. Do you remember about always have one bag by your door ready to go? I do want to talk about Helen Skelton in a bit as well. So yeah, that's how people support me on the road. I was trying to see if I had a badge. Is by going to katiesarms.com, and don't do anything or don't buy anything, but if you want to, you could buy like an actual Offerty Piss badge there. And I don't have one to show you. That's very sad. I do have the Offerty Piss pen though. Woo! Right. So that's what's been going on with me, my loves. People hate her, but she's good and funny. And if you don't like her, delete. Thank you. I couldn't have said it better myself. I don't mind. People that used to hate me realise that they probably don't now, and that's fine. And I was always conveyed through the media historically, and they needed a pantomime villain, which is why, like, all the pictures you ever saw or anything always made me look awful. I mean, I look pretty terrible on a regular basis. But when people meet you, they're like, oh, well, you're better looking in life. And it's because everything the media ever use is always of me just looking terrible. Like, if I was ever at my most sick or my most ugly, you know, and there's plenty of days. There's days today, you know, I look down at my phone, and you know when your phone does the wrong way, and I just think, shit, you know, kill me now, because it's just like, what are those dogs called? What are those dogs called with all of the skin folds that are really, 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 really droopy? Someone will help me. And they have skin here. They can't breathe because their face is just one big roll of skin. Oh, someone says I've got a smudge on my glasses. Wouldn't surprise me. Darling, there's lip gloss everywhere. It's starting to drip down off my nipples. It's like about 95% humidity here. How's that? Boxers? No. Bulldogs? No. Sharpie? Maybe. Sharpie is a pen. Anyway, sometimes when my phone turns round and I look at myself from like below, that's what I look like one of those dogs with all of the UK tour needed. That's what I'm not allowed to talk about. Lovely Mark says I'm not allowed to say anything yet. It's like my daughter used to do. So lovely India, we know, used to have, because India's different to lots of people, but brilliant. And so back in the day, before she would speak, she didn't speak till she was about 3 or 4. But when she really wanted to communicate something but couldn't, she used to flap her little arms. Turns out that's what I do as well when I'm not allowed to communicate something that I really want to. But just to say there is good news coming, I promise. And everyone says, why don't you come back to the UK and do what you do? Lovely Mark's going to kill me. St. Bernard. Maybe that's what it is. Do I look like a St. Bernard from underneath? I don't know, but I definitely see my mother. Hello, Mumsy. You're not supposed to be watching. And Yeah, I don't know. I was thinking maybe you could we talked about this as well, didn't we? You know, when you hold your hair up, there, look, to see what you would look like if you... Wouldn't that be great? If someone could just get a really, I think they do it on Strictly, don't they? Someone could get a really, really tight hairband and then get these bits and just... There, wouldn't that be great? Although that has made my eyes go slightly bulgy. But I'm sure other women do this as well, right? We get our hair and we think, oh, what did I used to look like? That's what I'd like to do now. If someone could just tie that up there for me. No, it's not a fucking St. Bernard. Oh. Well, anyway, we get the gist. Look, we get the gist that everything is going this way. Everything. We discussed that on stage in Blackpool. And I'd like to have it lifted. All of it. My whole body. From here up, I'd like to have it all lifted, please. Right. Oh my God. So let's move on. Should we talk about Helen? Everyone's still trying to guess. Invisitape. Is that what will do it? You just tape it all up. But then I may as well use sellotape. Liz Truss. Yeah, so Liz Truss will be gone. I would have thought she was gone today, but she's not. So I'm assuming she'll be gone tomorrow. And we will have a caretaker Prime Minister, presumably, which will be the dullest man on the planet, Jeremy Hunt, who just seems to walk into any role no one really wants, talk quietly and get away with it, right? It'd be like me coming in as Prime Minister, right? Absolutely fucking everything up. And then it'd be like, right, get rid of the noisy cow, bring on a quiet, dull man who doesn't say much but says it quietly. Who's the man you'd least like to sit next to at a wedding? Ah, yes, Jeremy Hunt, that'll do. Bring him on. So Liz Truss can't last. And my earlier kind of rant about this was that it clearly demonstrates in the UK that it's not a Prime Minister that's in charge, and it certainly isn't people's votes that achieve a Prime Minister in charge, right? So like the Conservative Association are like, oh yes, we voted in Liz Truss. No, darlings, you thought you did. The markets decide, right, who's in charge. They plant who they want in, and they tolerate that person or they don't. And they will not tolerate Liz Truss because she sent borrowing through the roof, she collapsed the pound against the dollar, and mortgages went through the roof. The markets have got rid of her. Yes, democracy in the UK is at best an illusion, possibly and potentially much more a sham. True here in America, where you had an installation of a false president, you know. Bill. The PM has no control, exactly. So they didn't get the guy they wanted, Rishi, who's the globalist. They'll remove Liz Truss and replace her with somebody else. Hedge fund managers will decide, exactly. And then, of course, if that's true and their democracy is an illusion, because after all, the markets rewarded lockdown and the tyranny of the people, then why do we comply, right? Why do we comply with taxes? Why do we comply with law and order? Because the idea is that's a transactional thing, right? You comply with law and order, you pay your taxes in return for a vote for choosing someone who leads you. If that's unraveled and we don't choose who leads us, why are we complying? Why are we doing anything that we're told? And hence my attitude to life, which is that I'm no longer doing anything that I'm told to. I will always try and help people. I will always look after someone. I'll always pick someone up. But I'm not complying with anything I'm told I have to do anymore because it makes no sense. What did I want to say about Helen Skelton? Yes, if I may. Yes, because we're weak. Well, I think actually no. I think people are much stronger than they know. And I believe that the strong thing is inside all of us. But the problem is people want to preserve what they have for one more day. And by owning things, you try and preserve those things, and also you try and preserve maybe a marriage, or you preserve being able to feed your kids. But once that's all taken from you in the manner that I was exposed to, it's very freeing because there's nothing that they can come and take from me. We've done this before. Helen Skelton, yes. I just wanted to, I'd motorboat those, well, you say dem titties. it's not really a motorboat. I'm just going to say it's more like a, what would it be? Oh, I know, it'd be more like a pedalo. I'm just going to say. I don't have anything on under this top, but I can say it's not. It wouldn't be a motorboat. It would just be more like, yes, it would be more like a pedalo on a sort of third-rate amusement park in the grey, somewhere in north of England. Just so you're aware, that's what this would be like. Wouldn't be as exciting as you think. Well, I mean, it might be. What can I say? Helen Skelton. So I love that there's this big love-in for Helen, whose husband pissed off, left her with a 4-month-old, shacked up with some rich trout who's on daddy's money and has now got this other woman banged up. And there has to be nothing worse. Well, I mean, there probably is things that are worse, but in terms of really giving a woman a good kicking, Helen Skelton's husband really did that. And I would very, very much like, I think 2 minutes would do it. 2 minutes in a room with those, 2 minutes in a room with Helen Skelton's husband. And the reason I say this is because none of us are the same, I know, and no one's experience is the same. But I was left when I was, I just had a baby, Poppy, my middle daughter, was 1 day old. And I was left forever, actually. And so there was just me, and my daughters are only 18 months apart, so I got straight back on the horse, as they say. And I was left, so I was then single mum of 2 children under the age of, 1.5 and 1 day old. And I guess the same pattern, which is that then that partner goes on, and it is totally fine now. Actually, I'm very over it and have been for many, many, many years. But that partner, the same will play out, which is why I'm saying this, because other people will know. The same pattern plays out over and over. They meet someone else, and then they have children again. And the big question you have is, well, if you're going to do it all again, why didn't you just stay where we were? Why didn't you just stay and make a house with us? Why didn't you look after us? How old was I? I was 28, 29 and a half. It was just before The Apprentice. And so I went home alone from hospital with 2 children, and we've never ever seen each other again. But I had some things to say about that. Is number one, I think it is probably one of the cruelest things that can happen to someone, because you feel so alone, and you really, anyone will know, having a baby is bloody isolating. Having 2 under 2 is very isolating, and to be left on top of that means you're absolutely on your own. And I think childcare and parenting is much better as a team, right? I think it is a team sport, and doesn't really matter who's on that team. It turns out that my mum and dad were, but it's a team sport. And being on your own with 2 means that you have to think twice before you do anything, because you feel like everybody's looking at you, because if one of them's crying, there's no one there to help. And so that's even more isolating, to stay in rather than go out. And I had a full-time job. And then I think also there's this idea people have that they think that person should come back, whereas my experience was always that they shouldn't. I don't actually think sharing works for very many people. It doesn't work for me. And actually being left totally on my own turned out to be a much better thing. And so, but I do know that feeling of being made to feel like you weren't worth anything. And so for Helen, and to see her being great and everybody rallying round and people cheering her, that's like a great moment, because it's like she will come away from this knowing that she is better. And all of that time that it took me to feel better, 4 or 5 years probably, she gets to do it in a really, hopefully a more condensed thing. And then there's many, many women who would be just like us, who didn't get to do Strictly, or didn't get to and just had to get over it themselves. And it's those women that I really, really, really admire. And I will say, of course, that now I have lovely Mark, and he came into the girls' lives when they were like 3 and 4. He taught them to ride their bikes and got them off of their little stabiliser bikes and got them onto real bike riding. And I remember those 2 days when he took them out to this sort of slope, and they came back in and they could both ride their bikes. And now he teaches them both to drive, and he's taught both of them to drive. They've both bought their own cars, and they're both about to do their tests. And he's been with them for all of that. So in a way, I guess it's a bit like anybody can be a dad in that sense. Like, people can make babies, but I think you have to be chosen to be a father. And I know that's a hackneyed saying, but in my life, it's been absolutely true. Someone was able to be a dad that never ever saw us again after the day I gave birth. But to be a father, you have to be chosen. And I'm not sure I had a great hand in that. Probably Lovely Mark was just sent to rescue us. But the girls got to have and choose Lovely Mark, and he's done everything for them. And I hope, even if I'm not around, I certainly hope Lovely Mark will be the one that gets to give them away to whoever will take them. So that's kind of I'm not trying to have a Helen Skelton story. It's just something I've never, ever talked about. I wrote about it in my book, but it was always a secret that I had, and I always kept that secret. Out of respect for anybody, and even the people he went on to have future things with, my former husband, because I don't wish them ill. I don't wish anybody ill, actually. I just didn't know how to make it okay for my girls. And one of the great things about being on your own, actually, is you get to a point where you decide that you're going to make an island for you and your girls, like me and the 2 girls under 2, and that no one will be able to damage or cause anything to our island again. That's what I did, made an island for me and my girls, and then Lovely Mark rode on his boat and came and rescued us off our island. So that is the story I wanted to share today. I don't know if it is sad. I think it's kind of sort of brilliantly happy, but I will also say, if you manage to have children together and stay together, that's got to be the dream. And when I meet people who are still together and they've still got their kids and everything, I'm like, that's the dream. But if you can't always have the dream, you can definitely have something that is very close to it. Good. So that's what I wanted to say. I will go and hopefully dry my face off. And so if it's you that just got left, let's just say it's you, not a Helen Skelton, not someone strictly being given attention. It's just you that's lonely because you got left. My message is just keep doing the next thing. Work your way through the list. I was writing down the list of things I did. Like, I had a list of things I had to sort one by one, like sort the house, get rid of the car, find a way of carrying us all around, find a job that I could keep down, find care, make that list, work your way through the list, don't think about anything, and just build your island. And one day, your island will be so great that someone else will want to come and join it. That's what I wanted to say. Please, could you publish more about the absurdities in the Brazilian election? Yes, I will get to all of that. Lula and Bolsonaro, and certainly mass fraud happening in Brazil. Okay, thank you so much for sticking with me. Thank you for tolerating Katie's arms being haphazard while I've been on the road. You can imagine moving every day is quite something, and also sticky hair dryers. And very soon I'll be back in the UK. I will have big UK news that hopefully Lovely Mark will finally let me talk about, and I can spend time with you all somewhere on the road. Okay, until next time, thank you for joining us here at the Katie's Arms. And if you need anything from us, the landlord of this pub is Lovely Mark, and you can find him at www.katiesarms. Yes, I've been in the gym today. katiesarms.com. And I'll see you as soon as I can do another Katie's Arms somewhere on the road.